Hello, you are very welcome to the podcast of Curious Souls.
And you're welcome to leave anytime you want.
I love this. Hello, my love.
Hello, my love.
How are you?
I am frustrated. I am anxious.
I didn't know this about you. Good that I asked.
It just happened.
Okay. Are you still frustrated and
It's moving.
anxious?
It's moving.
Uh-huh. Beautiful.
How are you, my love?
Let's check you in the end of this.
Uh-huh.
See how you are.
Yes, please.
How am I? I'm excited to do this. I'm a bit tired, but I have my green tea right here. And I'm super excited from the subject we are going to talk about today.
What are we going to talk about?
You tell us.
So we thought to talk about relationships. And while this applies to all relationships, we wanted to focus on partnership. And why do we get into committed relationships? What's happening inside of them? What's the root of many relationships that we're unaware of, and how does it play out? And what is the opportunity and invitation, at least the one that we would like to extend?
Yes, there are so many things to say about partnership and coupleship. I don't know if you can even say this. We want to address a very specific, how do you call it?
Aspect.
Thank you. We want to address today a very specific aspect of relationship, and this is why do people come into committed relationship? Yes.
Yes.
So we are not going to cover all aspects of coupleship and getting married and all of this.
No, not all of it.
Great.
Not today.
Okay. So why do you think people go into a relationship in the first place? Like, it's so complicated. It's so demanding. It's so difficult sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And still people go into it.
They do. We do.
Oh, we did for sure, and we sure do every day. Why do you think people, and of course we as well, why do we do this?
I think that we go into relationship, like committed relationships, because there's something possible in that type of relationship that is difficult to experience in other types of relationships, and for sure alone. So I think we're drawn towards things we can't create on our own, like experiences we can't create on our own. For example, intimacy. You can be intimate with yourself, but it's a very different experience.
Than to be intimate with another person.
Right.
Yes.
Sex. You can have sex by yourself, also very different from than having it with another person.
It is.
And there's, I think, a bunch of things that are possible in relationship, and particularly a committed one, that aren't possible in other relationships. There's a depth we can go. There's an opportunity, like even to create, like say, create a family. You can do this without a committed relationship, but it doesn't usually feel very safe and supportive for that kind of creation. So I think there's certain possibilities that exist in a committed relationship that don't exist otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I believe that most people are entering relationships unaware of their reasons because I think beyond the possibilities, there's underlying things that we are looking for that are unspoken, like unspoken needs that we're looking for other people to meet.
This is very interesting. Can you give some examples of people? Because look, I will say usually, okay? But usually you meet someone, you fall in love, and this develops, and then at some point you decide to go into a committed relationship.
I think most people have an attraction to another person, whether it's their looks, they're attracted to their personality, their status, or some expression of power. I think some people are attracted to others because of taboo, right? It's like what's not allowed. And this becomes attractive and sexy. I think some people are attracted to others out of convenience. So I think there's something that sparks an attraction of one person towards the other. And what I'm naming is what is on the surface. What's underneath the surface is what I'm more interested in exploring because I think that's what really is shaping our relationships unconsciously and the dynamics of the relationships. So, underneath, say, power, the person that's attracted to someone with power may be looking for validation because if they're with someone with power, it says something about them. I think there's all kinds of needs that we have that we end up looking for others to fill. And that's the stuff that's underneath the surface attraction and the reasons we think we're entering relationships for. And what happens is we end up having expectations of our partner to fill these needs of ours. And we enter what I would call like a hidden agreement or an unspoken agreement that we're unaware of. And it's usually working both ways. Otherwise, the relationship doesn't actually develop.
Okay, wait. This became very complicated for me. Let me reflect some back to you and confirm if I understood it right, okay? So you say that when people are going into relationship, into committed relationship, maybe also into not committed, I don't know, we carry an unconscious or unaware need that we are also unaware expecting to be filled by our partner.
Yes.
And then actually what we are doing is we are creating an unspoken and unclear agreement that cannot be or maybe can be fulfilled. I don't think you spoke about it yet, but we are entering into relationship without clarity.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Thank you, my love. I'll give you an example.
Please.
A really common dynamic that we see in couples that also exists in some form, less so now than before in our relationship, is one person is looking for emotional stability, and the person that holds emotional stability is looking for the other person to be a conduit to relationships. So one person is more extroverted and is out creating friendships and maintaining the relationship with friends and being social. And the introverted person, most of the time, has a need for social connection. We're social creatures, but usually has a fear of creating it themselves. This is why opposites attract, because one is meeting the other's need. Now, when this is unspoken, a dependency begins to develop because there was no clarity, because there was no consent. There can't be consent to something that there's no clarity with. Then they're in a dance of expectation of these needs being met. One day, potentially, let's say the social person becomes introverted or goes through a season of going inwards and doesn't feel like being so social. And all of a sudden, this person that has this expectation that they will create social ties and becomes disappointed, frustrated, upset. Now, because they're unaware of it, they'll begin projecting their anger onto their partner in different ways that may be completely unrelated. So all of a sudden, you're in a relationship where you're blowing up about the dishes and it has nothing to do with the dishes.
Well, it usually has nothing to do with the dishes. This we know.
Would you like another example or would you like to
Please,
move on?
please. I would love another example, please.
Another dynamic we see a lot is someone seeking some form of safety and stability, like take financial stability, for example. And the person who has the financial means may be looking for something else like validation. They meet and on the surface, it may be about love, it may be about sex, it may be about meeting the ideals of your family because your family always wanted you to marry someone wealthy. And so you enter these relationships unaware that actually what you're looking for is stability and safety. And you're expecting your partner to provide this and this works out. These relationships are functional as long as one is filling the other needs.
So, what's the problem with codependency and expectation?
It depends for who, because maybe this works for some people, and I don't mean to imply that it's a problem. Codependency serves a purpose.
What purpose does it serve?
There's a type of security in codependency, because if you need me and I need you, then we become entangled in a way. And so it's a way of hooking someone and making sure they don't leave us.
And being hooked by ourselves.
If we're hooking someone else, we're already hooked.
Yes.
Yeah,
You want to hear why I think it's a problem?
I would love to.
I think it's a problem because when we feel our needs with someone else, we actually do not develop this capacity by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And with this, we become weaker. So instead of growing, which is the natural thing with everything, everything wants to grow. So let's say that I don't succeed to manage my own finances and I see myself as needing someone to take care.
Mm-hmm.
So practically it's not only the financial part, it's like there is a part in me that wants daddy, for that matter, to take care of me because this is something that I miss from my young age. When I do it, now when I go and I marry you, because you can give me this sensation of being taken care by my daddy, I'm actually in a relationship with my daddy and not with you. And I'm not allowing myself to grow up from this need of the child to meet my man.
And what's wrong with being in relationship with your daddy?
There is nothing wrong in anything. It's all about what you want to experience. If you want by the age of 50 or 60 still be in relationship and fuck your daddy, it's fine. But many people don't want this. Many people want to be in a relationship that where they are growing, where they are healing themselves, meaning they become more whole, where they are not depending as you said so beautifully before, in a figure which is not relevant for the last 50 years in their life because their daddy is probably already dead, and they are still attached to an experience that didn't seize itself and didn't release them from a very young age that wants to be taken care of.
Do you experience most people coming out of this dynamic?
Look, I think that people, as you said, go into a relationship because many reasons. Many of those reasons are unconscious. They are coming from from a place of lack, of not something that they didn't experience when they needed to experience this. So they are dragging this need unconsciously into their relationship. It might appear as a wish to financial safety, but that's actually not the thing. The thing is that this person wants to be taken care of by someone that they perceive as bigger as them. So they want to have this young experience of someone taking care of me. Why should they want something like this? Because they didn't receive it in the age that they should have received it.
Would you agree that all of us have experiences in our childhood of something lacking?
Of course.
And so we're all dragging something along with us into adulthood and into our relationship.
Exactly.
So if I understand you correctly, all of us are looking for our partners to be our mothers and or our fathers to meet whatever need wasn't met in our childhood.
If we don't do work and we don't become adult, and I'm not talking about legal age, but in our ability to hold ourselves and to heal ourselves, yes, we will be continuing to looking for someone to fit this need. And as you said so beautifully, most of it is unconscious. It's not like I'm sitting here and I'm saying, okay, I was abandoned when I was young, so now I'm going to find someone to take care of me. It doesn't work like this. Usually it comes through first through attraction, which is super interesting, like who attracts you. What's the archetype of who attracts you? Man or woman, doesn't matter. Because you will see that it's mostly the same archetype. And the archetype that attracts you will change when the wound that was attracting before is filled.
Or another wound becomes louder.
Or another one becomes louder. So the attraction itself starts already. You go in a party, you see a beautiful girl, or you see a gorgeous man, you feel attraction. This attraction is already a sign of what you are looking for. Are you attracted to the alpha that is taking all the room? Are you attracted to the clown? Are you attracted to the one that is sitting in the corner and is mysterious? Are you attracted to the victim in the room? All of the attraction starts from what attracts you, and what attracts you is usually through your wound, because that's what wants to be filled. And your unconscious or unaware part in you recognize this almost intuitively. That's why you can hear people saying, I don't understand why I always attract all those motherfuckers. Or I don't understand why do I attract always everybody that just want to fuck me. Or, it's the first connection, the first attraction, which is really unconscious. You don't sit there and you go like, oh, I want to be attracted to this person. You just sense it. But this sensation is coming through something that your internal system understand that you lack and the other person has. So you want it. So you're attracted to it. And vice versa.
So what happens next? So I'm attracted to someone, I find someone.
And then let's say they are attracted to you as well. You start to meet. Then comes usually the euphoric state, where everything is beautiful. In this state, we are so full from the sensation of love that we are able to give to the other person exactly what they need and feel their wound.
Mm-hmm.
This can go for a while. After a while, usually exactly those places will become triggering for you.
Why?
Because the excitement is coming down of the new experience, because you cannot really feel someone wound. You cannot. They can heal their own wound.
You can't heal anyone's wound. You can treat it, much like pharmaceuticals treat something, but it's not healing the wound itself because the wound itself can only be healed by the person.
Exactly.
As you said, the partner is filling the wound, let's call it, or filling this hole.
Yeah, they are mainly, as I see it, lend you energy to feel this hole or wound or whatever you want to call it, whatever metaphor you want to use. They lend you energy because they have this energy, but it cannot stick with you. It will always come back to them. That's why you need it again and again and again. So if you are looking for validation unconsciously, what's actually happening is that like if you were looking for validation and you would receive it and it will heal your wound, you will not need it anymore. But it's not how it works. You need actually usually more and more and more validation. As much as you receive it, you need it more. Because the invitation is for you to drop into the need of validation and ask yourself, what am I actually looking for? And then give it to yourself.
Make it sound so easy.
Yes, I know. I'm so good at it.
If I hear you, the invitation that you're extending is for each of us to use what we're attracted to and what we're seeking from others as a mirror or as a compass that leads me back into where my wound is.
Exactly.
And then I feel it. How do I feel it? This is a secret I think all of us would like to know.
There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ways that are developed throughout the human history how to feel your own wounds and to heal. We have our methodology. We work with the idea of creator and conscious creator. We use intelligence of plants to help us, but there are endless ways. Just open, all the workshops from Tantra to breath to, it's all the same. So the how is secondary at this point. What's interesting, the invitation that I think we are holding for this podcast, if you are in a couple relationship, I have this term that I like to call the DNA of your relationship. And that's something that we are doing when we are doing couple work. So we want to identify what is the DNA of your relationship today. What are the unconscious agreement that were made in day one, usually, that are playing out in your relationship again and again and again, carrying this code of DNA. Do you want an example?
Please.
So we worked with one couple, and it was really interesting They are married many, many years. They have family. They did all their life together. And when we started to work with them, and we dropped into the DNA and we started asking them questions. How do they meet? How was the proposal of the marriage? It was really easy to hear their stories. Both of them were talking about disappointment. She was disappointed from him. He was disappointed from her. And they stepped into their relationship without clearing this, without sharing this. It came out with us together after years. But this disappointment is carried as a DNA in the relationship. So she is disappointed from him, whatever he's doing. And she will continue to be, because that's the DNA, that's the bond between them. And he is disappointed from her, but no one of them stopped and said, wait, I'm carrying a wound of disappointment. I'm going to take care of my wound and see where am I disappointing myself, where I was disappointed in my life, how does it meet me today, and what do I want to do with this? Instead, what they are doing in their bond is around it, is projecting the disappointment. And now I don't need to deal with my own disappointments from myself and from those that disappointed me long before I met you. And I'm projecting it on you, and it becomes a blame because now you're disappointing me. It's really an invitation when you are looking at your relationship. Ask yourself, what's the DNA? What's the code? Like we have DNA in our body that replicates itself in every cell. What's the DNA that presents itself in our relationship? And you will find it. And if not, you can come. We'll help you.
Say I discover the DNA in my relationship and it's disappointment, and we are bonding through disappointment.
Yes.
It's actually what's holding us together.
Yes.
There's actually a term for this.
Yes.
It's a trauma bond,
Yes.
right? We're bonding around a wound.
Yes.
Say I have the ability to identify this. What do I do with this?
You start to get curious about your own disappointment. Where is it coming from? What are you disappointed from? Where are you disappointed from yourself? Where were you disappointed in a very young age and you never expressed it? And that's why the disappointment is still in your. Sometimes it's so easy, like sometimes a child experiences disappointment from one of their parents. Maybe they died, completely not their fault. But then this child is holding this disappointment and sometimes never expressed it, not to themselves and not outside. They never said, I am disappointed from you. Now they are carrying this disappointment. This young part in them is carrying this disappointment all the way up today. This part of them that carries this disappointment wants to be acknowledged. But I am completely unaware to this because it happened in such a young age. So this part will now start projecting itself outside, so I will be able to recognize it. It's like a mirror. It's like, oh, I have a part that is disappointed. And then the invitation is curiosity, and start exploring which tools you personally connect with. We have our tools. There are so many good people in the world that are doing magical work, which will help you to connect. to this part in you that feels disappointment, where you can take responsibility and stop blaming your partner for your own disappointment. Because what happens, especially with feelings like this, if I'm telling you I'm disappointed from you, or if I'm making you feel my disappointment, my under message is, you need to do something so I will stop feeling this, right? But this doesn't work. I am responsible for my feelings. And if something that you do is triggering me, it's because so kindly, and I think that's why to go into relationship is so interesting, because what your partner can reflect back to you, because of the intimacy, because of the sexuality, because of sharing life, they can reflect back to you things that other people cannot. Does it make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Often, like a feeling of loneliness and looking for companionship is coming from a wound of abandonment.
Yes.
And if you have social anxiety and you're looking for a partner who is socially like a social butterfly, it's often because you have a wound of rejection.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
validation is usually a wound of self-worth. Someone who is looking for someone to take care of them is often because they don't feel capable of taking care of themselves. They
Yes.
feel helpless.
Exactly. It comes from the wound of helplessness.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So I have a question.
Okay.
Maybe you are willing to share with our listeners the four capacities we believe that we need to develop in order to meet our own wounds altogether, in relationship or not, but mainly in relationship.
It's been really fun working with these four capacities. Over years of working with people and the wisdom and knowledge we gathered, we started to notice that there's four capacities necessary to meet yourself and to basically become a conscious creator, to have conscious choice.
Yeah, I think we distill them from seeing all the hundreds of people that we are working with, and then we could at some point distill four capacities that needs to be developed in order for a person, we call it, to become adult. But you can say it also in other words.
Yeah. And also from our own experience.
For
It's
sure.
like just going through our own processes and trying to heal our own wounds and trying to gain more agency over our own lives. It's like, what is the process that we continually go through, and where are we meeting our limits, and what's stopping us from being able to take ownership of our lives?
Exactly.
How can I become more aware of my own behavior, of my own defense patterns, the way I feel at any given time, and particularly how I feel in particular situations? And if we're in a relationship and we start becoming aware of a wound or of a pattern, it becomes much more effective. We'll take our relationship, for example. So I'm also
The
not
best.
projecting on other people.
The best, take us as an example.
We have a number of loops and hidden agreements that we've become aware of over time.
Thanks, Goddess.
So I was projecting onto you a expectation that you will virtually be the parent of this relationship, that you will drive us towards conversations we need to have, that you will initiate the retreats that we will go to. And there's other parental roles. At the end of the day, in many ways, these are all parental roles. I was exporting my own need to prioritize, to stay organized, to remember what there is to do. Because you were so willing to offer this, I began to give up my own ability to do it myself and rely on you.
Yes. And I think that this is the danger. You become dependent. Instead of, I almost want to say, using the opportunity, and I will give my example in a second in the where I am doing this, but instead of using my support to develop it by yourself, that's what's happening in codependency. Instead of using the support to learn to do it by myself, I become dependent on what my partner offers me. And that's also why it's so scary if they will disappear.
Right. And so it becomes more important for my partner to have a need in me.
Exactly.
And that way I secure my space in the relationship.
Exactly.
Now, if my partner no longer needs me, it becomes very scary.
It becomes super scary.
Right.
Exactly.
Now, fortunately, in our relationship, you were not willing to hold this.
Mm-mm. You were also not willing to hold things for me, which I found great. So, for example, I have this little abandoned, rejected child living in me. And in the beginning, I carried an expectations that you will take care of her all the time. But you didn't take it.
I love her.
This has nothing to do with this, but you were not willing to take responsibility of my abandoned and rejected child. And in the beginning, we were looping because it was not clear to us yet what's actually happening. But it was important enough, and we were brave enough and curious enough to take ourselves through the process we needed and to take the help we needed to become aware of, for you to become aware of, oh, that's my need and I'm projecting it on Lilith. And for me to become aware of, oh, that's my need and now I'm projecting it on my love. Because wounds are not created in relationship. Most of them. Most of most of our wounds are reflected in the relationship. They are not created there.
We simply do not have choice over things we are unaware of. So we are in exploration of experiences, of knowledge, of perceptions, of relationships that reflect things back to us, that continuously offer us an awareness of what we were not aware of before. And what you're speaking to now is one of the gifts of relationships. Our partners are reflecting back to us our wounds and also our gifts.
Yes.
Should we choose to accept this gift, it increases our capacity of awareness. It makes us aware of more parts of ourselves. It makes us aware of how these parts are playing out in our lives. It is making us aware of the impact that these parts have.
For sure, we will talk in one of our next episode of how things are slipping from our awareness and where do they go. But I agree with you, this capacity to be aware, it's also something that is not finishing. There is no, there is no like scale where I'm today too aware and tomorrow I finished my awareness journey. I can always become more aware.
Always.
Yes.
Always. There is no I am aware or I'm not aware. We're always aware of some things, and we will forever be unaware of many other things.
Exactly.
The second capacity is one of acceptance. And this is what allows us to stay in relationship with whatever we become aware of, to not reject it.
Not push it back to the unawareness.
That's what happens when we're not accepting,
Yes.
right? We begin avoiding things, ignoring things, suppressing things, rejecting, fighting against them. And yes, these parts of ourselves or others that we're doing this to will eventually go out of our awareness because it's not safe to be present.
Exactly.
So, really, acceptance is the cornerstone of presence. It's actually what makes it possible for us to stay present with something because we cannot stay present with something if we are rejecting its existence.
Beautiful.
The third capacity is expression. And this is what allows us to move the energy and bring it into the world as a contribution of ourselves. So, expression is bringing what's alive for us into what we call the relational field. If we don't, then these parts of ourselves also will eventually go into the shadow. As you mentioned, we'll do a whole episode about shadows, but there is a shade of shadow that exists when we do not express, even if we're aware of this part, and even if in some way at least we accept it, it's still in the shadow of others because we don't allow others to see it. We don't allow others to hear it. It's so common for really, I find every human to in some way feel that people don't see them or don't hear them or don't understand the depth and dynamic of them. And usually it's because we don't show our full selves. So, how can anyone see and understand all of us? This is the capacity of expression. The fourth capacity is responsibility. The definition of responsibility isn't about blame. It's not about getting down to who did what, whose fault it was. Responsibility becomes interesting when we recognize our role and our participation in creating whatever reality we're experiencing in. In the realm of relationship, if I'm with my partner and I continue experiencing, you mentioned disappointment, for example,
For example.
responsibility will ask, how am I participating in creating disappointment?
Beautiful. Instead of
Instead
blaming
of,
you that you are a disappointment for me.
yes, and I think you're pointing to something really important. We tend to become more aware of what our partner is doing than what we are doing.
Because it's easier to become aware to something that is external.
It's easier also because we don't have to take responsibility for it this way. We don't have to accept it. And the expression is also not on us. So many people fall into what we call the awareness trap, which is I'm aware this is happening. And even more commonly, I'm aware you're doing something.
Yes.
Now, this can become a gift if you communicate it in the relationship with clarity and consent. If I come to you and say, my love, are you open to a reflection? I'm noticing.
No. Okay, I'm kidding.
And I respect whatever answer you have. And I may hold on to this for another time when you are. And that's another capacity, this capacity to hold on to something, to not to choose when to express it. This is the capacity of expression. It's not just a capacity of do I or don't I have it. These are all dynamic capacities. So, this capacity of expression to express to you an awareness I have about you, there's an art to it. There's a way that if I also am conscious of the impact that my expression will have on you, that I will choose how I will express it to you, in what tone, with what words, when, with or without consent. And that's why it's critical that these four capacities are in cohesiveness with each other, that they are always in relationship with each other. The moment we are working through one expression without the others in relationship with the experience, there is distortion and there will be
Imbalance. If we don't develop self awareness, self acceptance, self expression, and self responsibility, what will happen is that you will continue to trigger me and I will continue blaming you. I will not be aware of the part in me that is now hurt or angry or whatever it is. I will not accept that that's the situation. I will not express what's present for me and I will not be able to take responsibility. So we will stay in the same loop that we are playing.
Exactly.
And I think that one of the gems I would like to give to our listeners is go to explore your loops with curiosity and expand your four capacities. If there is something in your relationship that you are hitting again and again and again, especially if it's in the same way, it's almost like the same words. Be curious about it and stop for a second and ask yourself, what am I not aware of?
We have such a tendency. I know I grew up in a culture where having answers was much more important than asking questions.
Beautiful.
It was unsafe not to have the answer, not to have certainty. And I think that for me, it's caused so many blind spots because if I'm certain of something, then I'm not seeing any other option of it. If I'm in a relationship and I'm certain you're the problem, for example,
For sure, I am.
then I will never see my part in creating this experience.
Yes.
I hear what you're saying. I just wanted to double click on it. Curiosity is the gateway to discovering what we don't know, to bringing new possibilities in, to even invite the potential of something new in. I think, in addition to curiosity, maybe there's some other things that you can share or we can share that help to develop these capacities. Because someone's listening and they're saying, okay, you say I need to have these capacities. How do I develop them?
That's a very good question. For this, we have all our curriculum. This is not something that we, like even the four capacities, we just touch them. There is so much depth to understand around those capacities and start practicing them. I think if somebody is really curious about how to expand awareness, how to expand acceptance, how to expand expression, how to expand self responsibility. What does it even mean? What are the traps? Because each one of those capacity has also a trap. It's a whole world. It's a whole look. I also really believe that most of the people that are listening to us have those capacities to some extent. And probably in few areas they have it more, in few areas they have it less. In few relationship they can express it more, in other relationship they can express it less. It's not like a dichotomy, I think you are calling it. It's not like either you have it or you not. I think most of us are on a journey. And if somebody is curious how to develop any of those capacities or all of them, we have our methodology. You are super welcome to visit www.curioussouls.fun. You will find all our offerings there, and all of them are actually supporting the curious exploration of how to develop those capacities even more. And that's part of the journey because those capacities are needed to start your journey. But then when you are on your journey, there is so much more to know and so much more to learn and so much more to experience. So I think for us, those four capacities are like how do you say it, like the campfire. It's like where you meet, where you start your journey. They are not standalone. It's not like those capacities will change everything in your life, but those capacities will allow you to continue your exploration about who you are, to continue your journey, to continue to know each other, and to continue to meet your partner from different ways. There is a beautiful journey in a coupleship or partnership or marriage, however you want to call it, which is from please meet my needs to please help me see my needs and support me in tending to those needs so we can create together from a sovereign place. This is very different than codependency.
Yeah, I think what we're saying is that there's an opportunity in relationship to do things that we can't do alone. The greater the intimacy, the stronger the mirror. And these mirrors are opportunities to see ourselves, to see parts of ourselves, and to develop a relationship, a stronger relationship with ourselves. And the relationships that we're in are also like a playground or a field to exercise and develop these capacities. The more we've developed these capacities in cohesion with each other, the more we actually create what we want. And I think that's one of the arcs of all of our work and something that is also being expressed through relationships. The relationships that are built on needs are very primal in the evolution, meaning they're built on survival. And that's what a child is doing, needs to survive. And what we're inviting people to is the potential that becomes possible when we develop these capacities, when we've taken ownership of the things that we've become aware of, where we can accept all these parts of ourselves and express them lovingly and consciously, we can move from survival to creation. We can move from meeting needs to creating what we really desire. And I think that's like a fundamental thing that isn't possible when we're living in fear, when we're living in scarcity, when we are so afraid of this part of us that's unconsciously thinks it's going to die. That's afraid that if it doesn't have this need met, then the world is ending. I think that's like one of the invitations. It's to recognize that the more someone is triggering you, particularly if there's love between you, then there's so much opportunity for both of you to develop capacities and in this way heal. For us, healing is becoming more whole. The more we can accept, the more we heal. And as we take more and more responsibility, we claim more of our power back, and we can use this energy and power to create something we want.
Beautiful. I almost want to say that each one of us has to do the work that they need to do in partnership or being in partnership or doing this together. For me is a gift.
It's been one of the greatest gifts of my life. Absolutely. What I feel you're saying, which I agree with, is the responsibility ultimately for ourselves is our own.
Period.
Every bit of it that we do not own, we will project onto our partner and we will create dynamics that we are then spending all of our energy and time trying to fix.
And also to remember, I don't know exactly. A few days ago, I was triggered. Whatever you did triggered me. And I remember I'm standing in the bathroom, brushing my teeth, looking at the mirror, and I'm like so angry. And the conversation in my head is like, I'm blaming you, I'm blaming you. And I'm looking at myself, and suddenly I stopped and I was like, wait a minute, but you love him. Like I was so drawn into the trigger that I completely forgot that I love you.
Mm-hmm.
That's how strong those triggers are. And just when I could look at my own eyes and remember how much I love you, I was like, oh, okay, so I'm looping here. Something in me is triggered. Only then I could start my process of awareness and what is triggered here and what is activated and where am I in all of this and how do I accept this and how do I express it to myself and to you and where is my part of the responsibility. And only when I brought it in this way to you, it was inviting enough for you to become curious about your part in this, not about my part.
The moment one of us take responsibility, it almost always inspires the other one to find their part because there's like this entanglement becomes untangled and then it becomes clear. And it's also inspiring when you take your responsibility. I want to meet you in this. When you blame me, I want to blame you. It's this I'm sure there's some kind of law of reciprocation
For sure.
that I don't know the name of.
Yeah. And we invest a lot in this. You know, for people that are listening to us and thinking that they are afraid to express to their partner because their partner will blame them and guilt them, maybe it will happen, you know, because it's a change of a dynamic. It takes time to change a dynamic. It needs one person in the relationship to hold it and to lead it for a while. Because many times we hear, but I'm always the one that is doing this conversation. I'm always the one that is calling to expand awareness. Yes, you're calling him to expand his awareness. You're not calling yourself to expand your awareness. So I think it's very important to say to people that are listening to us, this is a process. It's not something that starts now and immediately works, especially not if you are in a looping relationship, I will call it, for many years. It takes a moment to change yourself. We had a conversation with someone yesterday. If one of the people changes themselves, the relationship will change, period.
Yeah.
Whether the relationship will stay or not, this we don't know. But it's enough that one of us will change and everything will change.
And if only one person does the work on themselves, then eventually the relationship will not work out.
Because the one person that is working on themselves will close the wound. I'll give you an example from my life. In my previous relationship, there was a DNA. He was taking care of my insecurity by validation, and I was taking care of his emotional stability. We were completely unaware to this, but this was the DNA. I needed the validation, and he gave it to me big time for years. This was an amazing healing process for me. But this healing process also brought me to a point where I woke up and I understood this. And I didn't want to continue being dependent on his validation. It happened to me in a ceremony. I came home and I was like, listen, I just realized that I'm dependent on your validation. I don't want this. I want to be able to validate myself. I don't want to be dependent on you. And I also told him, what's interesting in this is I'm going on this journey. I'm going to heal this wound that needs an external validation, especially from the people that I perceive as authority, and especially from authority that is a man authority. And I also told him, if that's what's happening to me, you have a need to be the validator. And if you will not attend to this need, at some point I will not be giving you this need anymore. I will not be fulfilling your need, this specific need anymore, because I will heal this. I will heal my need of external validation from you or from any other man that I perceive as authority. It will take me how long it will take me. But I'm going on this journey. What happened is I did. And at some point, I didn't need his validation. So I was also not willing anymore to keep my part in the agreement, which was completely unconscious, which was to take care of his emotional stability. So now, something that actually worked for us for 15 years or 16 years suddenly didn't work because I did work around this and this changed. I didn't need his validation anymore, but he needed to be my validator, and that did not work.
Yeah, and it ended your relationship, or
It
was
ended
maybe
our
among the.
yes, yes, it did. So what we are saying is that the best, if you are in a committed relationship and you love each other, the best thing to do is to do the work together. Not necessarily together as a couple, but each one or together as a couple with the deep understanding that each one of you has to do their own work, expand their own awareness, expand their ability and capacity to accept themselves and also to accept your partner.
Mm-hmm.
And then learn how to express, not express the thing, not to express your anger towards and go to blame and guilt and anger, but express what you are feeling, what's present for you from a place where you take responsibility about it. So I could, for example, when I'm activated, I can come to you and tell you, hey babe, my rejected child is all over the place. I need a moment. I will come back to you on that when she's relaxed. Or can you give me a hug? Whatever. But this is very different than what I was doing before, because before I was coming at you with my anger. Then you will close, of course, because I'm coming with my anger at you, blaming you and guilting you and accusing you. So for sure, you were going into defense. And then there are two little children and not two adults.
Yeah.
Why?
Check us out. We're here. We'd love to hear from you.
I didn't.
You've been listening to
Lilith.
and Omer.
Two curious souls.
When we're not recording podcasts, we're creating sacred spaces for self-relational and spiritual exploration.
We offer private retreats tailor-made exactly for you.
We also hold ceremonies, intimate, private, or community.
All the way to our 9-month pilgrimage called adulthood. We utilize the intelligence of plants
To guide you to meet yourself
and each other
more truthfully
playfully.
and with a lot more wonder.
Check out our website,
CuriousSouls.fun.
not .com, but fun.